Hi, I'm Victor Margiotta, and this is the Community Show. My guest is Connie Dyckman, who I've known probably from 8 years old till today, which is almost my whole life. But it's really an honor and a pleasure to have her on the show. But I do have to thank James Brooks and Joe Pisano for being the crew on this show. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you so much, guys. And can't tell you what a great job they do. I always watch the show. It takes me a week or so. I don't really like the sound of my own voice, but what they do with the show is amazing. And I just want to thank you guys for that. Connie, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and I'll never forget when I first met you when I was 8 years old and went to the library and had to learn about the Dewey Decimal System.
The Dewey Decimal System. It really makes some people very nervous, but it's really very simple. But yes, I remember probably it was a children's program. Mm-hmm. That's what I started as, a children's librarian.
I went to St. Patrick's in Verplank.
Oh, right.
That's right.
And I used to come and visit the school.
Yes.
Oh, right. Now I remember. Okay, yes. I loved visiting the schools.
It was awesome.
It was wonderful. We would talk about the summer reading program sometimes, and sometimes I would tell stories or something.
Yes.
I loved it. I loved it a lot.
Yeah. I really enjoyed going to school there. I'm actually still best friends with my first grade best friend, Patrick Cothran.
Wonderful.
And actually, we're planning a vacation to go golfing in January. But we're going to be near my nephew. I said, well, why don't we just stay with my nephew? Oh, no, I got to be able to relax. I can't be slumming it, he says. So, but we'll have fun.
I'm sure you will.
So, talk a little bit about family.
Family. I'm married to Jan Robert Dyckman. We have 2 children,
Awesome.
Jenny and Jeffrey. Jenny has a family. Mm-hmm. I have 3 grandchildren with Jenny and Pete Colzar. And now I have a great-grandchild.
Wow.
Yes, isn't that wonderful? His name is Lucas Green, and he is the son of Tyler and Jessica Green. Oh, Jessica's my granddaughter. So that's that. Jeffrey lives in Verplank, and he's single, and he works at Best Plumbing.
Excellent.
So that's family. I'm from Middletown, New York.
Oh, okay.
So we settled here after living in Worcester, Massachusetts, where my husband was a teacher at the Webster Academy. It was a private school. So we've been in education. He was in education, I was in education, and then I decided to go into librarianship.
Yeah. And where did you go to college?
We both went to the University of Albany. Yeah.
Great school.
We both went there.
Yeah.
I then, when we moved here, got a job as a library clerk when we were in the Cavanna building, and that was in the late 70s. And they were, again, this library has been blessed with some very forward-thinking boards of trustees. And they offered to pay for my education, my master's in library science. Right. So that was a big gift. And so I received my master's of library science from Post College in Long Island. And then, I guess, after we were at the Cavanna building, then we moved to the firehouse, the old firehouse. And that was lovely. That was just a very warm, lovely feeling there. And it was good for the community. But I needed a little bit more exposure. So I got a job at the Westchester Library System headquarters in Hartsdale when they were in Hartsdale. And I was the assistant to the head of the children's department. And that was good experience. But I needed to be back home. So I came back to Hendrick, Hudson Free Library. And that's when the germ of this building became a reality. Again, the Board of Trustees knew that we were needing more space. We needed to expand. We needed to expand our services. We needed to just reach out to the public. And this building became their reality.
Yeah. Well, I was just reading a little bit about the history of libraries, and turns out Ben Franklin opened the first one in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And the whole idea is access to books, access to information. How important is that?
Oh, well, you never stop learning. You know, learning is a lifelong experience. And I think we see that here with, I see people come in and tutor children. And while there's an adult present with the child, that adult is learning at the same time that the child is. We have programs here for adults on managing money, managing Medicare. There's a program coming up on defensive driving. But there's also the arts here. The art exhibits are monthly, and we draw people from that. The music program, there's a wonderful concert program at least once a month, I think even more frequently than that. And there are all kinds of craft programs here, but not just for adults, also for the children. I used to remember someone saying that for libraries, the gateway of the future for libraries is children's services. So if you don't start them there, then they lose it. They just don't continue their love of learning and their love of reading.
Well, you don't hear enough how important it is that parents read to their children.
Daily.
Yes.
Really, at night. I'm lucky my great-grandson is being read to, and my children were. So yes, it is. Now, whether they carry that on or not, that's their decision. But for the most part, I think children who read are get more advancement in the world.
Well, vocabulary,
Oh,
the more
absolutely.
you read, the better vocabulary. And it's been proven that the better your vocabulary,
Right.
the further you go.
Right.
Because it expands through all, knowledge.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
what's your favorite part about working with kids?
Oh, storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love telling stories. I really do. Actually, when I was the children's librarian here, every Halloween, Mr. Thomas, who was principal at Blue Mountain, would invite me up there, and on the PA system, I would tell a story, and it was so quiet. It was amazing. And I have kids today who will come up to me and say, I remember you telling stories at Blue Mountain Middle School. And I did that for several years for Halloween.
You can't even put a number on the kids that you've met
No,
over
no,
the
I
years.
can't.
It's
I can't.
amazing, right?
The people you touch, whether you teach, or whether you're a librarian, whether you're a restaurateur, I mean, a nurse, a doctor, I mean, the people you touch, and you never know how you've touched them. You never know.
Yeah.
Once in a while, someone will come back and say, I remember you told that story, and then you know you've touched someone.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Or you
amazing.
taught me this, or you
Right.
taught me that.
Yeah.
Or that wonderful flowers that you made. Let's see, the cuckoo's flowers.
Right? Oh, my God.
My mother used to make those, and you made them, and they were, that's bringing
Stuff you
people
remember.
back to family,
Yeah.
back to home. Well, food is that.
It's key,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have a new project.
Ah, yes.
Let's talk about that.
The project is called Comedy Tonight, if you wouldn't mind. Okay. It's, we've been doing this for about 5 years. Annually, we put on a theater production. And there are auditions open to the public and to anyone who would like to come. And they audition. give a reading. This year, it's called Comedy Tonight, and there are 4 one-act plays. The Two Noble Gentlemen of Venice by William Shakespeare by Peter Lillo, a spoof of Shakespeare. It's very, very funny. She's Fabulous and Farewell and Adieu are 2 scenes from a larger work called The Divas by Jack Neary. And then there's a very creative young man named Stephen San Luis who wrote this. When I saw it, I thought, that is the most creative thing I've ever seen. It's about a mime stop. And it's about 2 mimes, and the younger mime comes in to purchase items. It sort of turns the world upside down about, do we need to speak to say what we want to say? It's just really good. And How We Met is by Ellie Martino, a very, very talented young woman. She's from California. And How We Met is the story, there's an older couple remembering how they met while their younger versions are pantomiming it. It's hysterical because, of course, they remember it differently. And, of course, the 2 who are reenacting this are just saying, okay, then we'll do it this way. Okay, then we'll do it that way. It's just a lot of fun. And it's local talent. Local talent. Oh. And the performances are Friday, November 4th at 8 o'clock, and Sunday, November 6th at 2 o'clock. And the tickets are available at the circulation desk at the library. They're free. There are no reserved seats, but there are reserved tickets. I mean, you can reserve a ticket because we don't have seat numbers or anything like that. Yeah. But anyway, yes.
So you don't act in them, do you?
No, I don't. I gave up acting. And the reason I gave up acting was because I can't remember the lines anymore. At my age, I can't remember the lines. But I did begin acting in high school. I remember I had a drama teacher who was so motivational, and she started me. And when I got to college, I acted in The Crucible. I had the lead in that play. And today, Victor, I don't remember how I ever learned all those lines. And then when I went to the University of Albany, I joined their theater group. And Victor, I played Annie in Annie Get Your Gun.
God.
I can't tell you how on earth I remembered not only the lines, but the lyrics.
Yeah.
I guess age has something to do with it.
That was a great play, though.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
And
then when I moved here, I got involved with the library, so I did storytelling. And then someone said to me, you should try out for our community theater group. And so I did. And I had a lot of fun. I was still acting then. But the last 2 shows sort of did me in. The lines were just hard to remember. Well, so then I started to direct.
There you go.
So, and it's been very rewarding. Theater has been very rewarding to me, as all the arts have been very rewarding to me. The art exhibits here, I curate them by finding the local talent, the local art talent. And of course, Peekskill is rife with so many artists, and it's just wonderful. And then I also facilitate the book group, the on-site book group, which is so much fun. People interacting about the love of the book, or maybe they don't like the book. Actually, when they don't like the book, it's a better discussion because then they not argue, but then they discuss the good points and the bad points with other people in the group. It's just wonderful. It's been a wonderful career. Yeah. It really has.
It's awesome. Now, you talk about William Shakespeare, but, here 2,000 years later, not 2,000, but people are still the same, I think. We still go through the same emotions, the same feelings, How important is that to realize that?
They're universal concepts.
Yes.
They really are. Love, hate, envy, warring factions. They're just jealousy. I'm thinking of Othello, and it's just they're just universal concepts, and you'll see that. I think when a play or a movie is successful, they've hit on those concepts, and they make the people feel like they're part of it, and it just.
Well, and
I can't
hopefully they
explain.
learn something about themselves.
Oh, exactly.
Too, that
Yeah,
they're-
I remember when I was student teaching, and I had to teach Macbeth. This is really funny. And I had to teach Macbeth, and I said, I'm looking at my classroom and I'm saying, okay, freshmen in high school, reading Macbeth and speaking it out loud. Now, the worst thing you can do, because they don't know the meter, they don't know, the behind it. So I said to my advisor, I said, can I record this? And she said, well, we've never done that before. I said, well, that doesn't mean we can't do it now. The kids got so much more out of it, and because when actors speak Shakespeare, you can understand it, especially, I think, especially the English, the Brits. But anyway, they just have that cadence, that rhythm, that makes it all make sense. I remember, I'll tell you a funny story. One of the assignments, which I did not agree with, but the advisor said we have to do it, they had to memorize, I don't remember whether it was Lady Macbeth's speech or a speech, a soliloquy. And one child raised her hand and said, do we have to memorize it or do we have to know what it means? I looked at the advisor and I said, well, I think both. I think both.
Right.
I think once you learn it and you memorize it and you hear it on the recording, you'll know what it means. It was so funny. So funny.
So you're still involved with your church. How important is that?
At St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Peekskill. Right now we're looking for a new priest. So I'm head of the search committee for that. It's not easy. No. It's the what do I want to say? The availability of priests has decreased, and I lecture at the church. That's reading pieces from the scripture. What else do I do? That's about what I do now for the church.
Yeah.
It's lovely, St. Peter's.
How important is to you religion? To have
Oh,
faith?
well, yes, to have faith and live by your faith. I think that's very important. I think Christianity being here's another funny story. I was in the supermarket the other day and I was looking for a particular item. And I've been looking for it for like 3 weeks and they haven't had it. And I think it's because, now everything is just so hard to get. So this young man, I asked him about it. He said, oh, I think it's in aisle 1. Now, we were in aisle 11, okay? This young man went all the way and found the item for me in aisle 1 and came back. And I said, thank you. And I looked at his name tag. I said, Christian, you are doing... you are living up to your name.
Yeah, right.
I have so much fun.
That is great. Who were some of the teachers that you remember that made a huge impact on you?
Oh, I haven't been in school in so long that. I remember. There was a guidance teacher. Miss Hill, I think her name was. I'm probably not remembering that very carefully, but she took me under her. She opened her arms to me and said, "You have more potential than you think." And I didn't realize it myself, but she did. She guided me and made me see that I could go to college. I didn't think I could go, you know? And she said, no, you can go. And she helped me actually receive a scholarship. And I did get a scholarship. I started at a community college, but then ended up at the University of Albany. And I thank you for asking that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember my guidance counselor, Mrs. McCarthy, was awesome, really.
Yeah.
You know, they're almost like, you know, going to a psychologist, kind of, you know?
Yeah. Well, if they have so much, what do I want to say, potential to help you, to guide you, influence. They have so much influence, you know, and I'll never forget her. She was amazing. I'm starting to tear up.
That's great.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about her. Oh, and there was another woman. I worked at the library as what we call a page, and those are the young people libraries usually hire to put away books. So you got to know the Dewey Decimal System then. So, and accurate.
Yeah.
And there was a woman there who, the director, and I was, I don't know, mending books one day and everything, and she said, you know, you'd make a great librarian. I said, are you kidding me? And she said, no, you would. So those two women, and I think she was also part of that scholarship happening, and those two women, I think, had a great deal of influence on me and led the way to where I am now, retired.
But not fully.
Not
And it's,
fully, right.
You know, thank God you're here and helping out.
Thank
I
you.
think,
Thank you, Victor.
what do you want to say to parents about bringing their kids to the library?
Oh, it's essential.
Yeah.
It's absolutely essential. They receive so much here. I mean, it's more than just books. You know, that's what we have to learn today. That the library is more than just books. It's programs, it's education, it's learning things. I mean, even if it's in the children's room, they have so many wonderful craft programs. But I remember going to one because I wanted to see. It was something about my favorite animal, the sloth. I love the sloth. Anyway, she was doing a craft about a sloth, and she actually showed a little clip, a movie about the sloth. And I thought, you know, that's just great. Not only are they making something to take home, but they are learning something at the same time.
Yeah.
And that happens on all levels here. You know, I mean, Sherry does a great cooking club. They have a cookbook reading club. It's wonderful. And they do recipes from the book that has been selected for that time. Yeah. And they bring them and they share the stories, they share the recipes, they share the food. And you know, food brings people together like
no
nothing you've ever seen. You know that.
Yeah.
You're
well,
in
that. Casey Morbido said the biggest thing when they give away is the gift certificates to restaurants. The calls go off the because that's what everybody wants.
That's what everybody wants, right? Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes when I give gifts, that's what I give. Yeah. A gift certificate to a restaurant.
Yeah, it's the best.
That's never refused.
No.
And never goes unused.
Now, I saw they have a program, yoga for kids. How about that?
Yes, it's wonderful to get them into that practice early. It really is.
Well, the discipline, the being able to relax.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
exactly.
I think you got to send your kid to school ready to learn.
Right.
You can't allow the teacher to discipline your children.
Well, and you can't believe that the teacher's going to teach them everything. So the library is like an appendage to that, to the school. Yeah.
And, you know, being quiet and respectful and listening, you know.
Listening. A lot of kids have a hard time being alone. And I find that sad, you know.
Yeah.
They always have to be busy. They always have to be doing something. And I really respect someone who can be content as an individual alone.
Yeah.
Reading a book.
Right. Well,
You read a book and you're gone. You're in another space. You're in another world.
Me personally, I had a little hard time reading. You
Uh-huh.
know, but if somebody read the book, I would sit there and I would remember
Listen,
every
right,
word. And
right.
I can remember a couple times teachers reading the whole book to us.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, still remember, you know, every word of that book.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they do have books, audio books, which is a
Yes.
great outlet.
Yes, it's wonderful now for people who have loss of sight. And actually, I've started to listen to some of them. I just finished one that was just amazing. And the voices were wonderful. It's like listening to a production of a book being played out.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes they use more than one voice, or the person may use their voice to relate different voices, characters, but sometimes they have 2 and 3 readers. Right, the one I'm reading right now is about 3 different women, and they have a woman reading each reading each part when the time comes up. When that chapter comes up, then this character, this reader reads it, and when another character comes up, this reader, and it's just wonderful to hear that. I can't do it in the car.
No.
Somehow I can't listen to books in the car, but I can listen to them at home.
We probably have about a minute left. Any
Okay.
last thoughts?
Any last thoughts? Well, first of all, you should come and see the show,
Yes.
Comedy Tonight. And secondly, you're a lifelong learner.
it.
And the best place to get that is at the library. It's free. It's free. Where do you get something that's free?
I know, it's amazing how much information is there, you know, and people always say, oh, kids don't come with a book. But in reality, they do. There's you know, if you just read child psychology,
Right,
you know, that's a
right.
huge insight on.
Right.
So, you know, we still have Google, so you can Google things, but it's always nice to have a book in your hand.
Right.
So,
Right.
thanks, Connie, so much.
You're
for coming on.
welcome.
It was so delightful.
It was so much fun. Thank
Yeah,
you.
No, I appreciate you coming on. Thanks.
Great.
I'm Victor Margiotta. This is the Community Show. Come and visit the library. I want to thank Jill Winecoop Davis for giving us the opportunity to tape here. And this is a beautiful facility, so please come and enjoy it. Thank you.